mind speakers? If you click this video, you already know what's going down. I'm back with another video for my Zodiac installment. You guys have given me plenty of ideas in the comments, so if you guys have any more Zodiac video ideas, keep loading them up because I'm gonna keep doing them. I'm gonna keep churning out as much information as I know, as I can, from experience, from research, if you guys just give me the concepts, and this is another concept that you guys gave me. So today we're gonna be discussing when the Zodiac signs are ready to break up with you. That's right, that's when the Zodiac signs are just done. So it could be when you're done, could be when your partner's done, when your ex was done. That's what's going down today. Now, before we even get into it, you have a sun sign, a moon sign, a Venus sign, a rising sign. Find those out. Don't just be like, well, sun sign doesn't count. Somebody literally commented on a video of mine in which I said this in the beginning of the video and said, this is inaccurate because sun sign isn't all that's there. I know, bitch. I can't do your specific chart. You gotta find those out, find out what those means, how they apply to you, and to those people who know how they apply, they'll know exactly what I'm talking about because you're not just a Gemini, not just a Cancer, not just a Leo, blah, blah, blah. Get it? Those who know. Those who don't need to get to know before they comment something stupid and get blocked. Because I'm just not having it. So yeah, it's about 90 degrees in New York right now. I just had to cut my air conditioner off for noise purposes and I'm about to start sweating like Superhead at a Sunday service, so let's just get into this video. I'm gonna try to make it quick before that happens. Let's start with Aries. Aries can be a rather explosive sign sometimes, and it's because they're a fire sign, just like Leo and Sag. So that fighting that usually comes with Aries, the fight isn't what's gonna break an Aries up with you. Like, Aries can kind of handle that because they fight quick, they pop quick, they recover quick. A lot happens with Aries energy. And actually, some of them kind of like it. But Aries don't get their credit for being romantic. Like, when they're in love, like, you can tell that an Aries is in love. They do the whining and dining and the candles and the sweet nothings and all that other shit. They like that because they fall in love fast. But Aries, the same way they fall in love fast, will also fall the fuck out of love with your ass pretty damn fast. And so when an Aries is falling out of love, you will literally feel it. Like, all those good morning sweet texts and all that other stuff, just whoop, they will suck the romance out of that relationship in a heartbeat. Like, you will know that the Aries is getting ready to start pulling away when they pull away the romance. But even through all this romance, they're usually working to some sort of goal. Like, they're pretty driven and they're gonna focus on that goal. And overall, an Aries is gonna break up with you when you are starting to take that energy away from their goal. Like, if you are demanding too much emotional energy that now they have to show up to work pissed, or they don't feel like going to the gym, and like you're getting in the way of what they got going on, you're out of here. That's when an Aries is gonna break up with you. So stay out of the way of an Aries goals and allow them to just be able to do and accomplish and be proud of them when they do accomplish, because if you don't, and they're gonna break up with you. Next up is Taurus. Tauruses, they like courtship. They like the process of getting to know you. It's never a rush with a Taurus. It's completely a marathon and not a sprint. So that way when a Taurus is in a relationship with you, they really know what they're getting into, which, listen to my chart. This is the issue here. I'm a Taurus Venus, so realistically, this is what I like. I like to take it slow. My soul likes to do that, but I'm a Gemini sun, so my brain is bored, but I'm a Cancer moon, so if you're nice to me, I fucking love you. So let's get married. So all that's going on at once, which is just absolutely ridiculous. It's a lot to handle for me personally. A Taurus is gonna break up with you when they just feel like you're rushing them or you're moving too fast. Like, Tauruses are not in a rush to be in love with you or to find love or to anything. They just want the experience. And then once it's right, it's right. They're very good at just letting their souls and their natural process just navigate them to happiness. It's actually kind of cool when you watch it, because when you see people that are so thirsty for love, that's not Taurus energy at all. Taurus energy is just kind of like, no, I'm just gonna live here and I'm gonna exist here and you know what's gonna happen for me. And it always does. It always just pulls into them. So that's why Tauruses to me are kind of experts at love. It's actually kind of weird because I'm so not. But if you're gonna be like a stage 5 clinger and after a month of talking think that a Taurus is gonna be in love with you, they're out of there. And believe me, I've been there with a few Scorpios. They're just not having it. They don't pressure themselves into feeling anything. And they're not gonna accept external pressure into feeling anything. Overall though, they are earth signs, so like they will work with you. That's the thing about earth signs that I'll get into later on when we're discussing other earth signs, but Tauruses will work with you. They don't need to find the perfect situation to make it work. They will work with you, and they're very patient. But if that Taurus has broken up with you, you've worn that patience thin. And trust me, you had a pretty long rope, so you probably fucked it up. Next up is Gemini. Now, Gemini is kind of tough because we can talk about the general Gemini, but the reality of the situation is the same thing doesn't please two Geminis. Like, each Gemini needs a specific set of things in order to be pleased. So it is kind of high maintenance when you think about, like, what the fuck am I supposed to do here and when? Because timing is also very important with the Gemini. We're like the white mystery airhead of the dating world. It's kind of like, yeah, it's white mystery, but is that cherry or is it blue? Like, you really gotta like taste that out to know what's going on. Because in order to keep a Gemini, it's not even realistically like some people, especially Gemini guys, a lot of people try to keep Gemini guys around with sex because it's easy to keep guys around with sex, but Geminis can fully participate and enjoy that, but that's not going to keep them, for the most part. Geminis need another set of stimulant to feel like, okay, I'm in it. So some Geminis do need drama, and some Geminis need conversation, and some Geminis need common interest, and some Geminis need discourse, and some Geminis need space. You just have to figure out what that is for your specific Gemini. They're just the most enigmatic little bridge trolls, and that's why I cannot date a Gemini, because imagine me, a Gemini, trying to put up with that from somebody else. I could barely take my own. I do not have the time for yours. But before the breakup, you're gonna have to understand that your Gemini is freaking the fuck out. Geminis don't like serious conversations. They don't like feeling like this is getting ready to happen. They don't even want to break up with you, because there's a piece of a Gemini that no matter how much they hate you, they will always honor that piece of childlike love that they had for you, that friendship that they found for you. So it's kind of hard for them to want to go without that. And it plays a big part in why Geminis stay around long after they're done. Like, they know their soul is done, but they just can't help that they want to be near you. They're very loving. But while a Gemini is freaking out, what they will do is reach out to all their friends and ask, what the fuck is going on here? Am I crazy? Am I bugging? And they might overshare a bit about what's going on in the relationship, but they can't help it because they just need to get it out, and they need to figure out what they should do from third parties. So if you don't want certain things in certain third parties, sorry, don't date a Gemini. But overall, a Gemini is gonna break up with you when they feel too restricted, too tied down, or just bored. Like, that's just what it comes down to. You cannot bore a Gemini. It's a cardinal sin. And you cannot restrict a Gemini. Cardinal sin. You have to be able to contain the relationship, but also not be offended by if a Gemini just wakes up and doesn't want to talk to you. Because it be like that sometimes. Next up is Cancer. Now, if a Cancer breaks up with you, first of all, that's not even their style. So what the fuck did you do? If a Cancer breaks up with you, you probably deserved it anywhere from 6 months to 10 years ago, but they just decided that they weren't gonna see that, or didn't want to pay attention to it, or didn't want to break up. Like, Cancers betray their own common sense almost more than any other sign. It's Cancers and Scorpios that when they get the answer or know the answer because they're very intuitive, they just act like they didn't see it because they don't want to see it, which is not the case, because once you see it, you have to act on it or else you're the fool. But as much as a Cancer does love, Cancers are gangsta. Like, Cancers and Libras are very gangsta. They're loving, but they're gangsta. So when a Cancer starts to feel like it's over, Cancer gonna take a step back. Cancer's fallback game is on 1,000. Like, a Cancer will be like, skr, skr. They'll retreat. They'll want to be alone. They won't want to talk. Like, every meme you send, you'll get a ha ha. Like, they will back the fuck up to get used to life without you, just so that way once you're gone, they'll be like, all right, I already knew that, so what? And they'll be in pain, but it doesn't matter. Like, their poker face is like, bitch, I don't care, watch. Like, Cancers can buckle down and get gangsta and harbor some damn pain. In fact, that's what we do. We harbor pain. So what a Cancer's gonna do is they're gonna pull away, they're gonna step back from you, so that way once the big bang happens, they'll be like, all right, I've been alone for the last 2 weeks, so it doesn't really matter whether you stay or go. I was in here crying before you left, so what now? But a Cancer's almost absolutely gonna break up with you when they don't feel appreciated, or when they don't feel like they're a priority, or where they don't feel the love being reciprocated, or where they don't feel chosen. Like, Cancers are very vibey. Like, it may not be something you do, it could just be the air at the moment, and then it's like, something ain't right, you ain't right, and I gotta go. And honestly, most of the time, they're not wrong. It just takes them a while to get there to actually be like, all right, it's time to go. Leos. Now, everybody always brings up how grand Leos are, and it's like a common thing to see, but realistically, if you really know Leos, you know most of that is just a facade. Once you get past that, Leos are actually kind of cool. Like, let's take the lions, right? You take the lions. When people think of lions, most of the time they think of lionesses on the hunt and doing all this Simba, Pride Rock, and all that other stuff. But realistically, if you watch Animal Planet, what is a lion most of the time doing? Laying down in the damn shade, rolling around, scratching each other's bellies, maybe fucking. Like, that's what Leos do. That's what lions do. So all that other stuff, it's cool, it's great, they're majestic, they're to be respected, but that's not really the vibe. Duh, they like being told they're pretty. I mean, who the fuck doesn't? But when a Leo is getting ready to break up with you, they're gonna start wearing less and going out more. They're gonna call their girls up and they're gonna go out looking like a snack, an hors d'oeuvre, a 4-course meal, a buffet, a Popeye's chicken wing, anything enticing, a crab rangoon. They're going to get out into the field and they're gonna perch and they're going to make sure that when they walk into that room, they own it. Nene Leakes voice. Like, they're not fucking around with you and you will not be invited. But realistically, a Leo is gonna break up with you once you turn them off, like once the relationship becomes unsexy and a Leo just starts to feel like, it's over. Like, you can't kill that spark with a Leo. If you kill it, it is dead. Dead. Don't turn a Leo off. Don't make the Leo feel like you're too codependent. Don't make the Leo feel like they have to hold your hand and walk you through life. And you start doing that, Leos they just don't like, that's just unsexy. That's the biggest way I could describe how they feel. They just get turned off and then they're like, gotta go. Next up is Virgos. Now, Virgos get a bad rap for being overcritical. Virgos are misunderstood in why they are that way. Like, if we're living in an apartment and that cabinet is squeaky, the Virgo's gonna go, that cabinet's squeaking, and we're gonna find out how to make that cabinet stop squeaking. They're not just gonna live in systems and things that don't work. They wanna see everyone and everything operate at its highest good, so they're gonna wanna discuss plans on how to get there. But before a Virgo is ready to break up with you, they're going to nitpick a lot to provide context as to why you're out of here. Like, it may be a small issue at first, but when a Virgo's ready to break up with you, it's a 3x. Like they can't take it. Let's say with your Virgo and you say, hey babe, I'm fat. And the Virgo, is not just gonna say, no, you're not. Like, because instead of even going towards you just fishing for compliments or wanting validation, the Virgo's gonna go, oh, you think you're fat? Well, how about a Beyond Burger instead of a Baconator next time? Like, they're gonna start coming up with suggestions, and then if you blow up and you're like, what the fuck? They're gonna be like, okay, you see, I can't help you. You don't listen. Everything always has to be a fight, and they don't, like, that's it. Virgos will literally break up with you when you act like you're not listening to them, when you're intentionally misunderstanding them, and when you're not trying to just have a conversation. It's not even the discourse or the argument that bothers a Virgo. It's people who decide that they just don't want to listen to anything they have to say about getting better in life. Like, that's just not working out for them, and they're like, oh, gotta go, because you're not fucking with a Virgo's internal peace. They're out of here. Next up is Libras. I love Libras. Libras and Geminis, in a way, are like a power couple. Actually, most of my best friends are Libras, and the other one's an Aquarius moon, so it's kind of like the air sign is just strong in my soul. I spoke earlier about how the Gemini doesn't do breakups well, but the Libras also don't. Both of us feel more comfortable with, like, you breaking up with us and being like, oh no, I got broken up with, but really we knew we'd been done, so like we could just take that, but we can move on knowing we didn't hurt anyone's feelings. That's kind of how Libras are. Like, mentally I've been broken up with you for like 3 weeks now, so it doesn't really matter if you broke up with me, because like, really, did you? Or did I? But Libras just really sometimes don't know how to go about ending it. Like Kim Kardashian and Chris Humphries. If you watch that season of Kourtney and Kim Take New York, Kim knew the whole season that something was wrong with Chris Humphries. And she knew something was wrong with the relationship. And they were only married for like 72 days. And each one of those 72 days was a chore. And she hated the fact that she was in it and knew she could not be married to him. And all she did the whole season was corner Kourtney and Scott and cry and avoid him. She didn't know what to do because she couldn't bear the thought of hurting his feelings, and she felt so guilty. So what a Libra's gonna do when they're ready to break up with you most of the time is they just make themselves a priority, which, how is that bad? Like, they really just start vibrating higher and operating good and feeling better and breathing, and like, they will just start existing like any other person should, which means they just become healthy. Like, when a Libra breaks up with you, they feel liberated. You should feel that way in your relationship, Libra. Why do you have to be out of a relationship to feel that way? Make sure you're being yourself so you exist in your relationship so you can feel that way in love and not just out of it. Because every time a Libra breaks up, they're like, ooh, these haters on my body, shake them off. Like, they just can't take how good they feel once they break up, which is really weird because a lot of people cry, but Libras are just kind of like, ooh, thank God, bitch, that is over. But honestly, a Libra's gonna leave you for real, when they feel like you're being mean or hateful or spiteful or intentionally just like an asshole. Like, a Libra's gonna be like, oh, no, I do way too much for you to be treating me that way. I'm out of here. Like, Libras, like I said, are gangsta. They're not really taking that. They let you think that, but no, Libras are gangsta, and they know when to cut that shit off, and they know when they've had enough. But a Libra's also gonna break up with you when you trying to play them for a fool, because they also are air sign and they're very smart. They're sweet and they use their powers for like good, but they can also use them for evil, so don't get it twisted. Like, do not try to play me for a fool, because you're the fool for thinking I'm the fool. You can't play a Libra. Scorpios get a bad rep in the dating world because of their intensity, and it's not really their fault. Like, nobody chooses when they're born. We all roll the dice and some just get Scorpio placements. Scorpio energy is so dominant that if you have a Scorpio placement that's not your sun, like if it's your Venus or your moon, or even sometimes if it's your Mercury or your rising, it can play a big part in the way you receive and process love, because Scorpio energy is just that powerful. And so in a society today where casual dating and casual sex and those things are just so prevalent and so big, to be a Scorpio today is kind of hard because you probably don't know where to invest best. So it kind of feels like this big game of double dutch where everyone's just like, am I gonna jump? Am I gonna jump? Am I gonna go? Am I gonna go? But when you go, you in here. You're like, ha, 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 ha. Like, you're playing double dutch. You're in it, and you're in it, and all of you is in it. Scorpios they try their best, but honestly, they don't trust much. Like, even when they feel good, there's this internal monologue. Like, do you remember in, like, Fairly Odd Parents when Chester, or who was that, not Chester, that kid had the boil, and the boil always screamed about world domination to him? That's kind of what being a Scorpio is like, that there's always that little boil that's always like, he's gonna leave you. They always have a kind of unrest that makes them just freak out. Before a Scorpio gets ready to break up with you, they get moody, they get shitty, like they just get like non-verbally just bitchy and like just mean. They try so hard to signal, I'm not happy, but if you're me and you're not gonna use your words, I can see you doing all the signaling and I just don't care. Like, I'm gonna go on about my day. I do not care about your nonverbals. Your attitude has nothing to do with me. You cannot disturb my internal environment with your nonverbals. If you're not gonna be grown and use your words, then whatever. Once a Scorpio giving those cues does not ruin or alter your day, freak out. They freak out worse. So that just makes them more angry, and then they'll want to sabotage the relationship because they live in this constant threat and fear of the relationship being over. So if they sabotage the relationship and the relationship is over, then they can no longer fear the relationship being over because they face their worst fear. It's like ripping the band-aid off. They just don't know what to do. And usually they're so good at that. Like, if a Scorpio tries to chase you off, it's gonna work. A Scorpio's gonna break it off with you when you show that you have a problem giving that validation that's gonna calm their internal freakouts. Like, realistically, that's just something that they need. They need you to be able to handle the ebbs and flows of, you know, their relationships and their security in the relationship. And if you can't do it or you act like it's too much, that's the main thing that a Scorpio really needs. And they're just gonna be like, you know what, fine, fuck it. And they're gonna throw all the fucks out the window. That's what Scorpios do. So if you act like that's too much to give validation or to constantly validate them, which is a lot of work for me, because go do something else. Like, fuck out of here. But if you're that person that wants to be with a Scorpio, that's just what you gotta do. But I will say this about Scorpios. Scorpios want that validation in relationships so much that sometimes they get in unhealthy relationships because they start to value unhealthy forms of validation, like possessiveness, like overvaluing, like almost like abuse. They can find themselves in situations like that because they feel more in control with too much validation and to the unhealthy point than they do with too little. So I need them to watch that because that's scary. Sagittarius. What up, Sagittarius crew? Sagittarius know I love them. I'm also a Sag rising. They know that too. So, you know, Sagittarius are just great. I say that every video and I know y'all tired of hearing it, but I'm not tired of saying it. So this is my channel. What you gonna do? Here's the thing. Sag is a very independent sign. So relationships are really not that important. Like, if they decided to do it, you've really hit the jackpot because they've chosen you. Like, Pikachu, I choose you. You're in the Pokeball when it comes to Sag. And when they decide to pull you out and throw you and say fight, you do. When it's time to go back in like a little rat-a-tat, you go back in the Pokeball. But Sagittarians really aren't good at expressing emotion. So you might not actually like how a Sag acts when they get ready to break up with you, because a Sag might not. They're really good at ghosting because they just don't want to handle that conversation, so they just kind of go missing. And that is an asshole quality. Do not do that. People deserve closure. People deserve to know where you're at. And you, just because you don't want to be an asshole or because you don't want to have that conversation, do not need to do that to people. That is such a dick move. Do not ghost people. But Sages are known to just disappear on a motherfucker. But overall, Sag is gonna break up with you when taking care of you and your emotions, and when it becomes just labor intensive, when it's no longer a labor of love and it's just a labor of labor. Like, a Sag is gonna be like, oh, I did not sign up to be your home health aide. Like, I have shit to do. Like, that is literally the Sag motto. I have shit to do. I don't have time for this. I cannot make you my #1 priority. You have to be okay with being the #2 or 3. You cannot be the #1 priority. The top 2 priority spots are reserved for me, not you. They don't want you to feel like a chore. They want you to feel like a choice. They don't want to feel employed. They want to feel enriched. Keep that in mind when you're dealing with a Sag. Don't make them feel like they have to handle too much of your shit, because then they're out of there. They just don't want to do it. Capricorns are underrated partners. I think that they get a lot of shit because they're boring, but they're only boring to people who don't like stability. So it's kind of like, that's not even fair to say. I will say Capricorns do tend to settle a lot. Like, Capricorns, they're earth signs, so they can make it work. Like I said with Tauruses earlier, they'll work with you. You don't have to be Mr. or Mrs. Perfect. You don't have to be Mr. or Mrs. Right. They can make it work with Mr. or Mrs. Right now if they so choose, and it'll be fine. They're okay with that work. Like, you don't like this, I don't like that. Okay, we'll make it work. I'm coming to you, you're coming to me. They're good at that. somehow, without feeling like they're giving up this form of independence in doing that. They're just doing a thing. Yeah, they can get in a relationship and not feel any pressure and let it run its course, and when it's over, they know it's over and they can have a positive breakup and move on. It's like a foreign language to me. Don't know how they do it. But when a Capricorn is ready to break up with you, suddenly they're busy. They have something to do. Work is too much. They have to go chill with this friend or that friend. They just, all of a sudden, you're no longer in the rotation. And you're gonna feel shut out, and you are shut out, because that's what they do when they demote your credentials. You're now a level 2, and you can only get beyond this point, and they'll start to get more, like, trite, and kind of like, they'll lose couth and tact when they're talking to you. Like, if you're on the phone and just venting about why Kristen is such a bitch, they're gonna be like, okay, well, you told me that last week, and I already told you to stop talking to her, so you didn't stop talking to her, so what, I'm supposed to listen to you complain? I don't wanna hear you complain. Like, they get very that way, and you're just like, ooh, that's not who I knew. That's not the person that I entered this relationship with, but that's just how they naturally do. They just get tired. They're tired of you. Overall, a Capricorn is not afraid of doing like the emotional relationship work to make it work, but the Capricorn is absolutely gonna break up with you when they feel like you're not pulling your end of the sled. Like when you're not pulling your weight in the relationship and it's just them doing all this work to be with you and not vice versa, you're guaranteed to get broken up with. They're not doing all that alone and for nothing, and when they lose sight of what they're doing it for, you're fucked. Next up is Aquarius. Now, Aquarius Nation seems to think I hate them, and I really don't. I just kind of see through the processes of an Aquarius, which kind of makes them uncomfortable because Aquariuses just don't like being found out. They like feeling like they're enigmatic, but y'all really are not. Here's the thing about Aquariuses. Aquarius can sit right next to you on a couch and still keep a safe distance from you in some form of way. Like you can be next to an Aquarius and feel their presence not be there at all, because they like having control over their emotional proximity when they don't like feeling bothered, because they just want to be able to do what they want to do. Like realistically, that's kind of an air sign thing. We're in it, we're out of it, and it's kind of like, if today's not your day, tomorrow may be, and you just have to deal with that. Like, they just want to be appreciated for however they woke up feeling that day. And that doesn't mean they don't love you. They just genuinely enjoy emotional freedom, and they're not the only ones who are like that. Sagittarius are like that. Libras and sometimes, but Geminis are definitely like that. In love, sometimes with an Aquarius, it feels like friendship adjacent, except we're just exchanging body parts. But when an Aquarius is ready to break up with you, you'll know, because you will become a buddy old pal. Like, you might go up to an Aquarius like, oh my god, hey, and then like, you're like ready to give you a dap. Like, you'll literally start feeling like, oh baby, you got what I need. But you say, I'm just a friend. Like, you will be just a motherfucking friend, and they will make you feel weird. And when that happens, they're mentally drifting and they're in another planet, even though they're sitting right next to you watching the same movie that they were watching when we started this Aquarius segment. They've already drifted and they've realized, I don't want to be here. This is over. Overall though, an Aquarius is gonna try to break up with you when you try to change them, or when you try to like disrupt them for your pleasure. And Aquarius is like, no, actually, I'm a whole being, I'm a whole person, and like everything that I am is okay. I kind of like me. Like Aquariuses really like themselves, so they don't want to be with somebody who doesn't like them or doesn't appreciate them. Like, bitch, I'm great. What the fuck is wrong with you? Like, they're gonna break up with you. Do not try to change them. Love them for who they are. Go find somebody who's perfect for you, which honestly is a great quality. And last but not least is Pisces. Now, I gave Pisces homework last video, and Pisces Nation came through, mobbed the comments. They're still probably mobbing them, giving me stuff to think about how they act and what's going on. And you guys really came through and did your homework, so thank you, Pisces. So here's the thing about Pisces. Pisces also don't like the idea of breaking up. Like, even if they are unfulfilled, they really don't like the idea of it, because they really don't want to hurt other people's feelings. They have that in common with Geminis and Libras. So what a Pisces is going to do that a Gemini and a Libra will not do, because a Gemini and a Libra is just not going to break up with you. They're going to wait for you to do it. But what a Pisces is going to do is they're going to see that victim seat, and they're gonna try so hard to analyze your personality to put themselves in the victim role. So the Pisces is gonna be like, they're gonna wait for the day that you don't send the good morning text. And then they're gonna be like, I just kind of feel like I don't matter to you because you don't say good morning. So it's kind of like, what? Like, you just hurt me so much. You don't appreciate me and I gotta go. Like, Pisces love to try to put themselves in that seat to provide context to why they're done. And that's not fair to do, because not everybody has always hurt you. Sometimes you're just done. Like, sometimes that's just what happens in relationships. Sometimes it's just over. Sometimes it's just done, and you don't need to be the victim in order for you to be able to feel okay with the fact that you're just done. You have to feel okay sometimes in relationships and in love with being the asshole. That's just a part of it. And Pisces don't like that, so what they try to do is try to make it seem like, you hurt my feelings. No, stop trying to play the victim and just admit that it's over. Overall though, a Pisces is going to break up with you when they just feel genuinely and generally unloved. Like, Pisces, they just like love. like love in almost the most common sense. They just, you know what I mean? Like flowers, candy, teddy bears. All they need to do is feel some general source of romance or general source of love, and that's all they need. And if they don't feel that in a relationship, it's over. Anyway, guys, that's it for this video. This is when the zodiac signs do break up with you. So get in the comments. Let me know how you feel. Let me know your stories. When you got broken up with by who, when you broke up with who, and why. I'll be in the comments. You guys always have great discussions in the comments, so mob the comments. Let's talk, and I will be in there talking to you guys as usual. And as usual, if you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. If not, suck a dick, and I'll be seeing you guys later. Deuce.